Are you here? Well, wherever you are, if you can hear this, you are listening to the Paul Leslie Hour, episode number 1040. Ladies and gentlemen, we're presenting our third interview with non-mainstreamer John Paradise. Paradise is joining us from Pennsylvania, one of the key states in the 2024 presidential election. All eyes are on Pennsylvania and America's ultimate election, which is, by the way, just 2 days away. If you haven't voted yet, please make your plans to do so. And not quite as important, be sure to subscribe to the Paul Leslie Hour and share this interview far and wide. And with that, hey, it's time for our favorite patriot from the Keystone State, John Paradise.
John Paradise, so good to have you with us.
Hello, Paul Leslie. It's good to be with you.
Absolutely. Now, Mr. Paradise, you are joining us from the Keystone State.
I am indeed, the state of Pennsylvania.
And can you tell us a little bit about the area that you're at?
The area that I am at is Erie, Pennsylvania, and that is in northwest Pennsylvania by Lake Erie.
And I know that Erie County is a county that a lot of people are looking at. Everybody is looking at the state of Pennsylvania. What are you seeing as you walk around, as you drive around that part of Pennsylvania?
As I walk around and as I drive around, I am seeing a preponderance of Donald Trump signs. And I am very observant of them, and I would say they outnumber Kamala Harris signs probably 10-1. Based on those signs, I would have to say that Trump can only lose this election if cheating occurs. That is the feeling that I get. That's the vibe that I get. It's not a scientific sampling, but that is the feeling that I'm getting.
Now, have you had a lot of conversations with people? Are you engaging with people about the presidential election?
I engage with people probably less than I would like to, but I do engage with people. And I feel that more people that I engage with favor Trump, although there are some who do not.
Of course.
I am getting more, and this could be a biased selection of people, but I am encountering and interacting with more people who do favor Donald Trump. And even among those who don't, I heard someone say that they were fearful. These were what I would term as libtards. They were fearful that Trump would win because they said that there are a lot of Trump lovers in Erie, Pennsylvania.
Now, I'm curious to know from you, and feel free to not answer if you don't want to, who are you thinking in your gut is most likely to win the U.S. election?
Well, it's hard to say. As I already said, if the election is fair, I feel in my gut that Donald Trump would win. And I feel the only thing that could stop that is cheating. So my gut is not telling me if there's going to be cheating for sure, but the possibility of it exists. I already have seen some alternative news reports that it is occurring. But I feel a sense of calm no matter what the results. But I am
what do you credit that with?
I credit that with going through the process of following the lead up to the election and feeling very concerned, and finally just maybe I just had enough of it. And
Yeah.
I've come to the realization, at least at this point in time, it's not that I couldn't regress. It's almost like the stages of grieving, maybe, you know. You have denial and acceptance, and I guess there's 5 or 6 of them, but you can go back, you know. But what will be. If it doesn't turn out the way we hope, we still have to continue the fight. The fight doesn't necessarily end just because she gets in.
And can you define what the fight is for?
The fight is for the very essential quality of our country. It's for our Constitution and our freedom, the traditional values.
Would you say that there is a particular reason that you are most supporting Trump?
Let me see. I think there's a few reasons. I like Trump, although I didn't always like him. So I do like him, and I think he is a good leader, and I like where he stands on the issues. But I also feel that his opponent is a puppet controlled by globalist powers. And that if she gets in, she will be an instrument for them to overturn, as I said, our traditional values, our Constitution, our freedoms, and point us in the direction, if not totally make us into a totalitarian nation.
If you could say anything out there to anyone who is watching or listening to this that is interested or still thinking about the election, what would you say?
I would say that if you are a supporter of Trump, definitely vote for him. Or if you haven't already, which I guess that's a no-brainer. But if you are against Trump, I want to tell you that everything you have been told about Trump by the mainstream media is wrong. And if you can't do your own research, you'll have to trust me on it. But if you do your own research and you turn from the mainstream media to alternative media sources, I think you could quickly determine that you have been lied to. And I would specifically point to the biggest, I don't know if it's the biggest lie, it's one of the biggest lies, if not the biggest. And this is the lie that supports the false information or notion, if you want to call it, that Trump is racist.
Yeah.
This happened in Charlottesville. There was a meeting of people who, it was concerning statues, historical statues. I think one of them included Robert E. Lee, and there were people who wanted the statues to be torn down. And there were people who wanted the statues to remain standing. And there were also apparently in the mix, there were Nazis and there were white nationalists. And I think they may have even been carrying tiki torches. I'd have to trust Kamala Harris on that one because she used the word tiki torch. But these Nazis and white nationalists were not good people. And Trump did not and does not support them. But aside from these white nationalists and Nazis, Trump stated that there were very good people on both sides. And what he meant was there were very good people who wanted the statues to remain standing. There were also very good people who wanted them to come down.
Right.
He said, and I'm going to try and quote from memory, he said, there are very fine people on both sides. And I'm not talking about Nazis and white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally. I'm going to repeat that. Trump said there were very fine people on both sides, and I'm not talking about Nazis and white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally, okay? Now, the mainstream media took his words, his speech, and they sliced it and they diced it. And they spun a story. They created a story that said that Trump said that there were very fine people among the Nazis and the white nationalists. No, there were not. And no, he did not. He condemned the Nazis and the white nationalists. He said, I condemn them totally. That he said that there were fine people among them is a fiction created by mainstream media.
Yeah. And even a lot of mainstream or so-called mainstream sources have, in fact, confirmed that that is not something that Trump said. And now people call that sometimes the Charlottesville hoax.
Right. Even Snopes. Yeah, the Charlottesville hoax. Even Snopes confirms that Trump did not say that there were fine people among the Nazis and the white nationalists. Right. But when debating Kamala Harris, she invoked that lie, saying, remember Charlottesville.
Right. And Joseph Biden, he also invoked the Charlottesville hoax.
He did as well.
Yeah.
I was going to say that. I think he might have invoked it during, was it in the last debate where he did so poorly that he invoked that? Or was it in an earlier debate?
He had mentioned it several times, but he did, in fact, mention it.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
So this is an example of how you've been lied to.
Yeah.
If you're a Trump hater.
I think that you've done a good job here in pointing that out, and hopefully someone will look into that and ask themselves.
May I suggest that if they do want to look into it, they could easily find information about it by going to Facebook and typing in the letters JAWN, because that's my Facebook page, and I post a lot of information about these very topics, and if they were to scroll down my page, they would probably easily find the very thing we're talking about now and many other things.
Right. Well, John Paradise, thank you very much.
Yes,
I appreciate.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
All right.
All right. Until next time.
Okay.
Thank you for stopping by today. If you enjoyed our program, consider telling a friend about it. The Paul Leslie Hour is made possible through people just like you. So you want to keep the show going, right? Go to thepaulleslie.com. That's thepaulleslie.com. Click on Support the Show. And thanks to everyone who contributes. Performance of the intro music is courtesy of John Primorano, The Entertainer, written by Scott Joplin. End credit theme music is courtesy of John Primorano, the traditional song Corina Corina. Your announcer is Dan Gold. Hey, that's me. The show is hosted and produced by Paul Leslie. And we'll see you next time on the Paul Leslie Hour.